In a sport that never stops moving, even MMA junkies can struggle to keep up with all the latest headlines. If you missed any of Monday's biggest news, let us catch you up to date with The Comeback. Is Conor McGregor going to fight at UFC 200? Well, if you listen to the UFC featherweight champ, yes. Of course, UFC officials are saying the exact opposite. In the latest episode of this incredible saga, McGregor took to Twitter to announce that he had worked things out with UFC President Dana White and CEO Lorenzo Fertitta, and the Irishman was being welcomed back to UFC 200. Unfortunately, White and Fertitta didn't back the claim, and a UFC statement said simply, quote, "The tweet is not accurate," end quote. So for now, UFC 200 is still without a main event, and it's unclear exactly what McGregor hoped to accomplish with his tweet. Meanwhile, McGregor's teammate, UFC flyweight Paddy Holohan, made a shocking announcement on Monday, revealing that he suffers from a rare blood clotting disorder that is forcing him to retire at just 27. Holohan was scheduled to face Willie Gates at next month's UFC Fight Night 87 event, but a third party alerted UFC officials of his condition, which Holohan said he was born with, and he will no longer be able to obtain medical clearance for future contests. Holohan leaves the sport with a 12-2-1 mark, including a 3-2 record in the UFC. Free agency has certainly become a big point of discussion in MMA, and Bellator officials have made a few big moves in recent months to prove they intend on being a buyer in the market. Top UFC welterweight Rory MacDonald is the latest fighter set to become a free agent, and while Bellator boss Scott Coker wouldn't comment specifically on the potential of adding MacDonald to the fold, he did suggest to MMA Junkie it would be wise for fighters to continue to test their value on an open market.
Well, I tell you this, we're not going to interfere in anybody's contract, because they have a contract with him. But I will say this, if you're a free agent, right, you should fight your fights out because we're here too. So now there's more than one buyer, right, which is good for the market and which is good for individuals, which is good for the fighters, it's good for the league, it's good for our industry, right? And not every fighter is going to fit with us, right? But he's a guy that would be interested in talking to, if the time was right.
And that's The Comeback for Tuesday, April 26th. To read more on the latest news in MMA, including why Thiago Alves plans to compete as a lightweight in his next outing, as well as why Oscar winner Kevin Costner thinks MMA should be in the Olympics, check out MMA Junkie.